Hi, I'm John Sage with Sage Traveling, and I'm here in London, which is one of the best destinations for someone who's traveling with a disability and has not been to Europe. One of the best destinations for them to go to first. I'll tell you why. The first thing here about London is that it's primarily flat. So whereas the city of Rome is the city of seven hills, Paris has some hills and other places, London is primarily flat. So that is a big advantage for people with disabilities who are traveling in Europe. The other is that there are few cobblestones. So that's a great reason to come here, which other destinations have a lot of cobblestones. Additionally, the black cabs here, there's an abundance of them with wheelchair ramps. They all have wheelchair ramps, and so that makes this easy to get around. Also, there's quite a few accessible bus routes that are helpful for tourists. So overall, traveling to London with a disability, it's a great place to come. I'll tell you, when you come here, there are some things that you really have to check off your list. So one is the castles and palaces. So behind me, you see Tower Bridge. Right next to that is the Tower of London. Accessibility is not that great there, but it's something that somewhere that most people want to check off their list. There's also Buckingham Palace, St. James Palace, various other palaces, Windsor Castle, Hampton Court, lots of different places that visitors want to check off their list that do have good enough accessibility for disabled travelers. Also, the museums are outstanding. The British Museum, the National Gallery, these are great things to check off the list. The third thing that definitely I think people should do is go to the theater in the West End. I saw Les Mis last night. It was incredible. I transferred from my chair into a seat, but there were seats there that were where you can stay in your wheelchair. There are spaces for wheelchairs there, and that's common in a lot of the theaters. So essentially, museums and castles, the castles and palaces, the museums, and the theater are all things you should check off when you visit here. Now, the best way to sort of connect a lot of these things, what I recommend to our clients is 2 tours. So there is a walking rolling tour of Westminster. So that includes Westminster Abbey, the changing of the guards, and some of the other royal destinations near there, and also booking an accessible driving tour to connect to some of the other destinations that are further where you really sort of need transportation to get to. So over here, Tower Bridge, Tower of London, and some other destinations. And with those 2 tours, you can see a lot of London. And the final tour that I would recommend, or activity to recommend, is to get outside of London if you're here. So do a day trip somewhere. I would say the top ones that I recommend are Stonehenge, Oxford, Cambridge, or Greenwich. And those can all be done easily with a day trip, and we can book accessible transportation. That's a lot of details about how to plan an accessible vacation here in London. If that sounds like it might be time consuming or intimidating, or you're just looking for convenience or the best experiences, we have accessible travel experts who can handle all your questions, handle all the reservations, and provide emergency support during your trip. Those are all available through sagetraveling.com. We can find a bunch of information and get in touch with us. We look forward to planning a trip for you here in London.